going to be reading to you from the King James Version. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. For a few minutes this morning, I ask that you would pray with me on this thought. He got me. As we look at this 23rd number of Psalms, he got me. I used to work at the Chicago Transit Authority as a bus operator. And there were times when people didn't have their fare or didn't have the exact fare. Some of these were legitimate, some illegitimate, some just playing games to get a free ride. But some of these people were legitimate. And so occasionally you would hear someone behind them say, I got them, I got them. Don't worry about the driver, I got them. Sometimes there were passengers, or there were times when a passenger would be with someone else who they already agreed would be paying the fare. Or the group of people and this one person was going to pay the fare. When they got on the bus, they would say in reference to the person behind them, he or she got me, they got me. When it's group, they say he, she, they got us. He got me. And they'd go ahead and have a seat. I've had some bus rides along this journey from time to eternity. There have been times where I've done all I can and I've given all I have to the fare box and it still wasn't enough. Just didn't have what it took to make that ride. But let me tell you this, there's nothing like hearing the voice of the one standing behind you saying, I got him. Because Lord on sometimes had to say, I got him. Like I said, I've been on some bus rides along this journey from time to eternity. And there have been times when I know that I had to take the ride and I knew that I didn't have what it took. But I'm ever so grateful that when I know I don't have it, I can confidently say, he got me. The guy behind me, the guy standing behind me, the man that has my back, he got me. Before I go forward with this message, I have three requests I have for you today. First, if you ever been in any of the situations that I mentioned in this message, ask that you will post across all socials, he got me. Second, if at some point during this expository exegetical examination of the 23rd Psalm, I come down your block, turn up your driveway, come in your house and sit in your kitchen, I want you to shout, he got me. Thirdly, if at some point in this sermon you feel as though he has been there for you when you couldn't be there for yourself, tell somebody, he got me. David starts this psalm saying, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The Hebrew word for want in this text is chaser, which means to lack or be without. The 23rd Psalm is a psalm or a song written by David. Yes, that David, the David you're thinking about, King David, Solomon's father, Bathsheba's second husband. Yes, the David who didn't have it all together, but he never let go of God's hand. Yes, the same David who wrote in the 37th Psalm, I've been young and now I'm old, yet I've not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. In other words, David tells us, because you belong to the Lord will always see to it that somehow, some way, you will have everything that you need. And I speak into you right now that you shall not have lack or be without, because he got you. Psalm 84, verse 11 and 12 tell us, for the Lord is a sun and a shield. The Lord will give grace and mercy. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly. O Lord of hosts, blessed is the man or woman that trusteth in thee. Ain't nothing like knowing that whatever is good, he got me. Whatever is good, God got you. No matter what it is, if it's good for you, he got it for you. Not what's good to me, but what's good for me. Because you see, I have a proclivity for wanting what is good to me, but he knows what is best for me. He knows what I really need. He always provides it when I need it. The Lord is my shepherd, and the Lord is the one who takes care of me. And for that reason, I know that in all situations, he got me. David goes on to say, he maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. In order to get an understanding of the sheep lying down, let's look at why sheep don't or won't lie down. Sheep will not lie down if they are being bothered by parasites or flies. When they are being nagged and pestered, when something is bothering them, no matter how small, no matter how much you can't see it, when something is getting in their fur, when something is getting in their fleece, when something is getting in and under their skin, they can't lie down. You might not see it, but they feel it. Sheep will not lie down if they are hungry. Therefore, the shepherd will not only ensure that the pasture is free of poisonous plants and whatnot, but the shepherd has to also check the pasture and keep it clear of the little things that people don't really see, things that people don't know are there. He has to be watchful for anything that could break the sheep's cheek and cause them not to be able to rest. That was a little pastoral advice I snuck in there. All right, and let me tell you something else about sheep. Sheep spend most of their time grazing and ruminating. I want you to know there's a difference between being fed and grazing. When one is being fed, someone is giving them their sustenance, and when one is grazing, the sustenance is made available to them, and they can eat until their heart is content. Or you can look at it this way: being fed is receiving the preached word, and grazing is studying and getting full on the word until your heart is content. Sheep, after grazing, need a peaceful place to ruminate. Y'all, I don't want to be too graphic in explaining ruminate. That's when they eat and they digest it a little, and then they regurgitate it. Then they take it in some more until it breaks down to a small enough amount where they can fully digest it. They have to digest. They have to take it in multiple times until it's fully digested. They ruminate. They don't just eat and go. They work on that thing until it becomes a part of them. Another reason that sheep will not lie down is because sheep are peaceful, social animals, and sheep cannot lie down and get comfortable when there's tension between them and another sheep. Yeah, sheep believe in following peace with all sheep. Holiness without shall no man see God. For that reason, the shepherd has to know his sheep, and the shepherd has to be able to keep his sheep at peace. How does a shepherd do this? By keeping the sheep's focus on the shepherd and not the other sheep. Even if he has to move that sheep around, he'll keep that sheep focused on him and not the other sheep. If y'all dealing with sheep, y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all dealing with that sheep. Stop focusing on them other sheep. Focus on the shepherd. Move around. Get away from them other sheep and focus yourself on the shepherd. Let me tell you something else about sheep. Sheep stay away from moving water because they know that if they fall in, their fleece will soak up the water like a sponge and they'll drown. A good shepherd either leads the sheep to still water or before they get to the water, the moving water, the shepherd will dam up the water so that the sheep can drink in safety. I know I don't have to break that down and tell you that the good shepherd always goes ahead of his sheep and makes sure that everything is all right when the sheep get there. But I will. I'll tell you, he goes ahead of us. He goes before us just to make sure everything is all right. If you look at the children of Israel in the book of Exodus, he went before them as a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, making sure everything was all good before getting there. I heard Jesus say over in the book of John, I go to prepare a place for you. Oh, come on, y'all. I'm jumping ahead of myself and preach. Let me get back to it. Because he got me, he gives me comfort. Because he got me, he gives me peace. Because he got me, he gives me safety to do what I gotta do. He got me. Yes, he got me. He restoreth my soul. I'm going to break this verse up in two parts. He restoreth my soul. Sheep can get exhausted, y'all, from the heat and the sun. And so the shepherd has to, or will give exhausted sheep a place to rest in the shade and will take them plenty of water to replenish their lost fluids. Let me say that again. He leads them to a place of shade. He puts them in the cool place so that they can rest in the shade and cool off, and then he brings them water. They don't have to go to the store. He brings what they need to them. He comes in the room. My brothers and sisters, I want you to know sheep stumble sometimes, and they end up with broken limbs, and so the shepherd bandages them up in these situations. The shepherd wraps them up so that what is broken can be mended. Sheep are attacked from time to time, and so they have wounds and bruises, and the shepherd puts a little balm on their wounds and bruises. These are things that the sheep cannot do for themselves. I don't know about you, but I've been exhausted, and the shepherd has taken me into the shade and brought me water. He's restored me. Yes, the rock of ages has cleft for me and let me hide in him during the storms of life. I don't know about you, but I've stumbled here and there and ended up with some brokenness. And the shepherd has healed me. He did just what he said. Been my good shepherd. I don't know about you, but I've been attacked and I've ended up with some wounds and some bruises. And I want you to know there is a balm in Gilead. He'll heal your brokenness. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Let me say that again for those who might have missed that. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. See, one thing about a shepherd is shepherds are always out front leading the sheep so that the sheep know which way to go and what to avoid. Let me say that again. A good shepherd, shepherds are always out front leading the sheep so that the sheep know which way to go and what to avoid. Can't lead the sheep when you're doing what the sheep doing or when you're walking behind the sheep. Let me tell you, sheep and goats. You lead sheep, you drive goats. If you behind them, pushing them, them ain't sheep, or that or you in the wrong position. But let me get back to it. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Look it. See, I can easily go out there and live a life of self-righteousness, making it all about me and touting my own version of my holiness and having a good, quote-unquote, good reputation established. But that's not sheepish behavior. Sheep don't establish their own path. Let me say it again. Sheep don't establish their own path. Here's a little bit more about sheep. Sheep have excellent visual acuity. Sheep can see some 20 feet away, can see almost 360 degrees without moving their head, and have good night vision. Nevertheless, sheep have poor depth perception. See, they can see 20 feet away. They can see almost 360 degrees. They can see in the dark. However, they cannot see what's right at the tip of their nose. This becomes a problem when sheep are either distracted by what's going on around them or they see something that looks good to them. See, the sheep will look around to focus on something other than the shepherd. And when they do that, by the time they refocus, they've lost sight of the shepherd. And so the sheep winds up going down a path that looks good to it and will follow that path because it looks good. My brothers and sisters, Proverbs 14 and 12 warns us, there is a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof is death. For that reason, the good shepherd will come searching for that one who is strayed from the path, the one out of 100, as Jesus told the parable, because he knows that the sheep will stray. They'll end up going down the wrong path because they lost sight of the shepherd, and they'll end up in some bad situations. Have you ever done like me and strayed from the path? Experience has taught me that if I should stray and cannot find my way back, I don't have to worry because the shepherd will come find me and he will bring me back. I know because I strayed. I strayed multiple times, and I can tell you every time I strayed, he had me. He came and got me. He found me. Let the shepherd come get you. Make your noise. Let him know you're out there. Do a little bad. Let the shepherd know I need you. I strayed away, and he'll come get you. David goes on to say, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. This verse is mostly used as a funerary text, and so we naturally associate it with death, with grief, fear, comfort, and sympathy. But I want you to know today that death is not always the cessation of life. We can put ourselves in some dead situations and end up in the valley of the shadow of death. We can put ourselves in some situations that bring death to our spirit, death to our state of mind, and death to the life we live as we know it. There's a joy in knowing that regardless of how we got in the valley, we have a shepherd who has a rod that is long enough to fight off every enemy and that can clear the path for us. That's what a shepherd's staff does. He uses it to fight predators off and to clear a pathway as he moves through swinging. The shepherd's staff can even be used to lift large rocks out of the way. Yes, I'm going to try not to take off telling you that he'll remove the stumbling blocks that are in your way. In the same vein, there's also a joy knowing that regardless of what valley I find myself in, regardless of how I got there, and regardless of how deep the valley is, I have a shepherd whose crook can reach down and pull me out of my ditch. It can reach down into the lowest valley and pull me up out of my mess that I got me in. Let me say it like David. If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. I don't know about you today, but it inhabits my soul to know that even in my deepest valley, he got me. Let me tell you something else about sheep. I'm telling you a lot about sheep. Let me tell you something else about sheep. Sheep really don't have a defense against predators other than running. The only defense they have is to run. That's why shepherds have to watch over their sheep carefully, and that is why shepherds build or have someone to build a perimeter fence around the pasture. Wherever the sheep are supposed to be, there is a fence around them. Jesus be a fence. Because outside of the fence are predators. Let me tell you something about predators. Predators don't have a way to open the fence and come in. They don't have a way to come in the right way. They don't come in with the sheep. They don't come in like the sheep. They don't come in following the shepherd. Predators try to get around the fence. They try to get over the fence. They try to get under the fence, but they never try to come through the door. Anytime you got somebody trying to work around, work over, work under, you better watch them. That's a wolf. They'll even try to find a weak spot that they can exploit. Well, my brothers and sisters, there does come a time when the shepherd has to expose the sheep to areas outside of the perimeter fence. Reverend Jerry Black calls this wolf country. And I came to tell you that sheep keep their heads down when they're eating, even though they're in wolf country. And I came to tell you this morning that sheep keep their eyes on the shepherd as they travel through wolf country. Sheep don't worry when they're in wolf country because they know and they trust the shepherd. Sheep know the shepherd. So in wolf country, they still keep their heads down when they eat. And they still keep their eyes on the shepherd when they're moving. My brothers and sisters, sheep know and trust their shepherd. When you trust your shepherd, you know that you can go ahead and eat without worrying. And when you're moving, you can just keep your eyes focused ahead and don't worry about the wolves in the bushes. Sheep are like this because they know that their shepherd can and will protect them in wolf country. Sheep know that unless they're in the barn, the wolves and where the wolves are locked out, they're in wolf country. And they know that the greatest blessings come when the enemy is watching. Yet they don't have to worry about what the enemy will do. He got me. That's what the sheep say. The sheep always say, he got me. I know that my shepherd blesses me right in front of my predators. I know my shepherd blesses me right in front of my enemies because he is able to block every attack of the enemy. Yet if by chance I end up in a position where the enemy is in close proximity, I know without a shadow of a doubt, all I got to do is run to my shepherd because he got me. Because he got me, surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. Some texts read grace and mercy. Grace, God giving me what I don't deserve. And mercy, God withholding from me what I do deserve. I can only speak for myself, but there are some things behind me. There are some things in my past that if I got paid for what I did, if I got my just deserts, I'd either be in dire straits or just right out dead. There's some stuff behind me. There's some stuff in my past that, if I got what I had coming, I wouldn't be standing here before you today. But he got me. Goodness and mercy, grace and mercy got me. So I can only speak for myself, but I've been to some funerals and looked at the desert and looked at the person in the casket, and I looked and I had to do like the Walter Hawkins song and say, it could have been me. Thank you, Lord. I have to say that because I look at the situation of them. I look at how they ended up dead. I look at what they went through, and I realize it could have been me, but thanks for grace and mercy. I'm afraid, I know that if mercy wasn't following me, my past would catch up to me. Mercy keeps my past, y'all, I'm going to rhyme it. Y'all get ready and forgive me. Mercy keeps my past off my ass. And grace keeps his goodness in my face. I ought to close it right there. But I'm going to go ahead and give y'all a little something from John Newton, who said, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the night I first believed. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead us home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. It's grace. Ooh. Miss Loretta Oliver used to lead that song. There's something about God's grace. And when David says, I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever, David is not just talking about being in the presence of the shepherd on this side of the river. David is alluding to the exchange of the existential for the eschatological. Taking off this mortal man, putting on immortality. Leaving this flesh behind to live with the Lord forever in spirit. To go to that great pasture up in heaven. David is not just talking about being in his presence in this earthen vessel, but David is singing about being in the presence of the shepherd in the same spirit form as the shepherd. 1 John 3:2 tells us, beloved, we are now children of God, and it is not yet made clear what we will be. We know that when he comes and is revealed, we will be like him because we will see him just as he is. We'll see him just as he is because he got us. He got us. He got me. He got you. We'll see him just as he is. I know I'm going through some stuff right now, but I know he got me. You're going through something right now, but I want you to know that man behind you, get on that bus. As you're stepping up on that bus through this journey through life. That man behind you is saying, I got you. I got him. I got her. He got you. I may have some frustrations in this life, but I know he got me. I might be facing some hard trials, but I know the man that's behind me got me. Because I heard him say, I got you. And he is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent. If he said it, that gummit, you better believe he gonna do it. Every time I get on the bus through this journey through life, he got me. No matter what course I'm taking, no matter which way I'm going, it's good to know that as I step up, he got me. I know he got me because when it was determined that a day would come, when the blood of bullocks, pigeons, and turtle doves would no longer suffice to atone for my sins, it was Jesus who stood up from his throne in heaven, took upon himself the form of his creation, traveled down, as the old preacher said, through 42 generations, was born in a stable in Bethlehem and died on a cross called Calvary, rose on the third day to free me from hell, and ascended back into heaven 40 later so that he can prepare a place for my soul. One of these days, y'all, I'll see my shepherd just as he is, and I'll be in the same form as him. Until then, I know no matter what goes on, he got me. Because every bus that I get on in this life, in this journey from time to eternity, every bus I get on leads me. They connect, they link up to get me to where he is. And where he is, I want to be. And so I know he got me because he already paid the fare. All I got to do is get on and ride because he already said I got him. So no matter what I'm going through, no matter what you're going through, no matter what I'm going through, I'm going to keep believing he got me. Hard days, but I know he got me. Dark days, long nights, I know he got me. He got you. No matter what you're going through, he got you. Be blessed, my brothers. Be blessed, my sisters. I love you. God loves you. He got you. Ain't a daggum thing you can do about it.